Knowing that every time you heard it, you cringe and you want to sock someone in the face. At least that's how I felt. Now, I was watching them, and, and I was thinking to myself, they look kind of odd. Now, not that they're bad looking or anything, but something didn't seem right in the way they looked. And I remember thinking to myself, what looks different about it? And I realized it's because their boat had a lot of girls on it. More than most boats do. Because in case you guys haven't realized, most teams only meet the bare minimum requirement, which is 6, right? 8? 8? 8 girls. Okay, most teams only race with the bare minimum, 8 girls. On this team that killed us, they had 12 girls in that boat and only 8 guys in a 20-man boat. And that's when it hit me, is that we not only lost to Lowell's B team, and this is the race where I thought we could take their A team, right? We not only lost to their B team, we lost to a B team that was 60% girls. Hey. Now I want to make something very clear. Lowell girls, they weren't like ginormous, big, athletic girls. They're little Asian girls, right? Now, I remember how demoralizing that was, because the next thought that went through my head was, how are we supposed to compete with the A team if we can't even beat their B team? I remember thinking that. Now, there's 2 lessons I want to share with you from this experience. And before I go into it, I just wanted to have you guys really focus on these 2 lessons I'm going to teach you, because somebody once told me there's 3 kinds of people in life. The first kind is the dumb person. He makes a mistake and then makes it again and repeats it. The second kind of person is a smart person. He makes a mistake once and never does it again. While the third person is the wise person. He watches the first and second person make mistakes and never does it himself. And the reason I'm telling you these 2 lessons is because I want you guys to be wise and not to make the same mistakes I did. Because in all the years I've been doing this, I probably have lost more races than any of you can imagine. Any of you guys. I've lost so many races. Alright? More than all of you. Okay, so listen carefully. It's these 2 lessons. Lesson number 1. Don't ever underestimate an opponent. I cannot stress that enough. You must never, ever overlook an opponent. Because you never know what they're bringing to the table. Because we only race 2, maybe 3 times an entire year. And you never know what they've been doing in that time. So you can never underestimate anyone. Because anytime you underestimate an opponent, and I've seen our team do that way too much. That's why I'm telling you this. Because anytime you underestimate an opponent, you give them an edge. Does that make sense? Because when you underestimate someone, you're not trying your hardest. And anytime you don't try your hardest, you open the door for them to creep up behind you and pass you up and beat you. So you never want to give them that edge. That makes sense. Okay? Number 2, second lesson. Any team can beat any other team at any given time. See, it doesn't matter what school you come from. It doesn't matter if you're an A team, a B team, C, D, E, F, G team. It really doesn't matter what team you are, what school you come from, what your background is, because anytime you step out on that starting line, no one else cares. Does that make sense? No one else cares about your rank, how many medals or trophies you have, your experience, what you've been through. Nobody cares. All they care about is doing well for those 2 minutes, and whoever does the best in those 2 minutes is going to win. And you can't take that away from somebody. The only difference between you and the next boat is that you got to want to win more than they do. Does that make sense? Which goes back to desire, which is what I was talking about in the first place. You've got to have more desire than they do. And how do you show that? Because you can tell me you have desire, and a lot of you guys can look at me in the face and tell me that right now, I'm going to call you a liar. I'll say that straight to your face, because I'm honest. I don't like to fluff things up too much, and as a result of that, sometimes I come off as kind of harsh, as you guys know, on weekends. But a lot of times I'm just, kind of joking. I'm not really mean to offend anybody. But because I've seen you guys, I watch you guys, and if you really think about it, I don't really do anything at practice except for watch you guys. I really don't. So I spend a lot of time observing and watching you guys. And from what I've seen so far, a lot of you guys are lacking desire, and you're lacking the passion for this sport and to want to win. And I felt like I needed to say this, and I've been thinking about this for over a week, almost 2 weeks now, what I was going to say. And I had a lot of notes written out, because I'm not very smart and I tend to forget things, so you might see me pull it out, but just bear with me. But a lot of you guys are lacking that. Right now, I think of fire, I think of passion and desire as a fire, as a flame. And for most of you guys right now, I see that flame burning within you, and it's kind of like a little candle. What I wanted to do before Sunday is to shower you with gasoline and throw a match on you. Okay? And hopefully you guys will go home and think about that in the next 48 hours before Sunday and bring that with you on race day. Because what I want to make very clear is that one of the things I like about Dragon Boat is that it doesn't take any particular skill or talent or natural ability to do well. If you guys haven't noticed, most people that are here that are good, they're not special. They're just average big people that have been doing it a little bit longer than you have. I'm not special. I'm not very tall or athletic or anything like that. But what I'm trying to say is that the thing in Dragon Ball that makes it so special is because it's the ultimate team sport. And you hear some people say that, oh, my sport is the ultimate team sport. And I look at them funny because I know they're lying. Because you can't tell me that baseball, basketball, football are the ultimate team sport. It's a bunch of bullshit. Excuse my language. But the thing is this. In any one of those sports, there's a star player, an all-star. Does that make sense? For every basketball team, you have one Kobe Bryant who can lead your team to the championship. Right? We're watching them doing it right now. But in Dragon Boat, the way it's different is that your team is only as good as your worst paddler. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter how many all-stars or superstars you have on that boat because your team is only as good as its worst paddler. Now imagine for the Lakers, and all you guys from LA, that means that your team would only have been as good as Kwame Brown before they traded him. Kwame Brown. Now, understand this. This is exactly why I pick on you guys so much in practice. To the point where if I was you, I'd want to slap me too. Because I am a Nazi when it comes to the little details in your strokes, in your technique work, in your time. I'm very critical on you guys because of that. Because I know that your team is only as good as its worst paddler. And if we let those people slip by without criticism, then they're not going to get any better. And that affects everybody. So going back, let me just reiterate lesson 1. Don't underestimate anybody. Lesson 2, anybody can beat anyone at the same time. Now, lesson 2, the reason that's important is because for the A team, you cannot ever be overconfident. Now, what I'm telling you is that don't not be confident. There's a difference between being overconfident and not confident at all. You should be confident in your own abilities and your own talents and skills. But you shouldn't be overconfident to the point where you're overlooking an opponent because they're another A team who doesn't have a strong reputation, or if there's a B team who is a B team, right? Or if it's your own B team. Don't ever overlook anybody. Because, like I said, you can't give them that edge. And if you're a B team, you can't ever sell yourself short. Because I've seen this B team beat this A team. I've been there. And I was actually steering for the A team, so I know what it feels like. It was pretty embarrassing. You got to realize that it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what you've done leading into that race, because if you do well in that race is yours. And you can beat anybody. Everyone here, I work with all of you guys. I've talked to you one-on-one before. I know everyone in this room. And I know that you guys have enough talent on this team to win. I know that. But so you got to understand that it doesn't matter how much talent you have. It matters about your determination and your passion. And that's something that I can't teach you. I can't teach you how to have desire. I can't teach you how to want to win. It's got to come from within. Does that make sense? Because your heart, you can't measure somebody's heart by looking at them. So that's why you can't overlook anybody. Because you don't know how bad they want it. If you want to win, you just got to have more heart than they do. You've got to want it more. And what do I mean by that? Because eventually you're going to get tired. Does that make sense? And I know that you guys aren't even perfect now when you're not tired, but when you get tired, things go to hell. It looks really bad. Alright? But the determination and heart that I'm talking about is when you're tired, you got to negotiate with your mind and find something extra to really focus and concentrate on the fundamentals, what we've been working on all this time. Because that's why we drill you. That's why we hit you so hard and so often about the little things, because we know that when you become tired, you've got to fall back on that. It's got to become second nature. It's got to become a habit to do it right. Because when you don't do it right, and Les was talking about it today, so I'm glad that he addressed that, because I was going to talk about it too. And for those of you guys who weren't there, what he was talking about is that each person makes a huge difference. And the message I want to convey is this. Each person on the boat has a role. And I'm telling you this because I've seen a lot of the mistakes that you guys are making, A boat and B boat. And the mistakes that you guys have been making are all mental. That makes sense? See, two things that are the most important thing in Dragon Boat. Number 1 is your heart. Number 2 is your mind. Now, those of you guys who don't have the heart yet, you can negotiate with yourself in the next 48 hours and find that. And I know a lot of you guys will after this talk. But secondly is your mind, mentally. You guys are making a lot of mental mistakes. And I'm trying to tell you guys this, don't take it the wrong way when we correct you on your mistakes, because this team, both teams, but UCSD as a whole is so close to being great. Just so close, just a little bit extra. And that is my point, is that we're so close